to Welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie, and this is part 2 of going through my classics. So I decided to show you some of my smaller collections of classics, classic editions, but first there were 2 more from the Penguin collection that I forgot to show you guys. First we have this one, The Best of Everything by Rona Jaffe. Which actually, this is, this title, The Best of Everything, was I think the same title that they used for the subtitle of that Zelda series that sadly got canceled and only had 1 season. Which I am so disappointed because not only did it get canceled and only get 1 season, but it ended on a cliffhanger. It ended with this whole, which is exactly what happens to shows like Kyle XY on Freeform, that it got canceled, but it ended on this cliffhanger. Well, this one ended on this cliffhanger of revealing something, and so we will never know what's gonna happen unless you read, like biographies and stuff about, Zelda and everything. And I do have her biography on my Amazon wish list. At some point, I want to get it. And I also put it on my thrift books wish list as well because I might get it myself at some point. You will see. But originally I borrowed it from the library, but it's a long book. And I don't want to have to keep renewing. I didn't want to have to keep renewing it, so it's on my wish list, so I can take my time. But that's the subtitle of that show, or was the subtitle of that show. But this one is not the 1920s. This is not the Roaring 20s, but the 1950s. So it's probably closer to the Valley of the Dolls as far as the setting, which I could have read those 2 together and it'd be great. But this was. And this is a 65th anniversary edition. And apparently this book, the little blurb at the top says, the insightful novel about 1950s New York City women in the workplace that paved the way for Sex and the City and Mad Men. Now in the 65th anniversary edition. So it paved the way for Sex and the City, which I'm wondering if they mean the book first, because the book came out years ago before the show. So, yes, there was a book. So it could mean both Sex and the City books and show and Mad Men, this show, because that was a more recent show. And I think it's, about this woman in a typing pool in the 50s. And she kind of gives herself a reputation for a woman that every man wants. Okay, wait. So Mendelsohn was and Greg. Oh, so I guess Greg is a girl. Yeah, Greg, the 3-spirited actress, is an actress. So yeah, so it's and I thought about reading this summer, so I might still pick it up this summer. But yeah, so I forgot to show you this one, and then the other one I forgot to show you from my Penguin collection is this one, Jane Eyre. So this is another one I've actually read. I've read this 3 times now. And I love this cover because it's very Tim Burton-esque. And I just saw someone else who had this, or at least they showed this cover. It might have been Emmy herself. But I love this because it's very a Tim Burton-esque cover. And I have thought about getting the Wuthering Heights version in this as well. But and switching out my Penguin with that Penguin. Because I just love these covers. They're really cool. I mean, maybe one day. But yeah, it's so pretty with this, this paint-like cover. And yeah, it's very interesting. And although the setting looks more medieval, or it's the setting is the cover setting looks very different from what the moors and everything, because there's this whole it looks more like a castle. But either way, I really love this version from the French flaps. But and I cannot wait to read this again for a 4th time soon. But yeah, see, it's blue, and then like I said, the cover, it looks like a painting, and Tim Burton-esque painting. Although it does not look like the right setting for the time period. It looks more like a castle, like something Anne Radcliffe would write, for instance. Like, it makes me think of her book, Mysteries of Udolpho, a little bit. But so yeah, those are the penguins I forgot to show you. So next, I kind of want to show you these. So I did also have one other one, Robin Hood, of this, but I decided, even though I'm enjoying the book Hood, which is a retelling of Robin Hood, the original book, and I can't remember if it was the Howard Pyle version or a different version, but I didn't love it as much. I mean, it was just okay. Like, it was, it was fun. The story was fun and still, but it just, Robin Hood, the original tale, is, I guess, just not for me. Like, I'm so used to adaptations and retellings that when I read the original, it just kind of tainted it a little bit. It wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. So yeah, I had that in this kind of edition. But these are ones that I found at when we were in a bookstore in Asheville, I think. It was either that or Hendersonville. One of those. But my mom was like, suggested that, well, you want to buy more than one, so why don't you wait and order these online when we go home? Which, me being anxious and immature, I was like, I want to get them now. And now I did wait. Of course, I waited. But I was like, kept staring at my computer, being like, let me look now. Let me see if I can find it. And that's what I'll do. I'll go through and find, and, while I'm anxiously, trying to hold back from temptation, I tempt myself even more by going through and seeing, be like, okay, let me just see if it has it. So the ones I still have are, The Secret Garden by Fran Hodgson Burnett. It's really pretty. It's blue with this, this kind of a design that kind of sticks out, like of a garden gate and a trellis, and there's birds. It's like a nice little design. And I feel like they're very easy to read. They're a little stiff though. That's the only thing. They're a bit stiff. But they're still floppy. And there is a cute little matching ribbon. And then we have, The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. The only H.G. Wells I've read. I thought about looking at other H.G. Wells. So this is silver, and you have the, a gray silver color, and then you have the Time Machine on the cover. Which, I mean, I definitely like reading this more than the original copy. My original copy was a mass market, and you know how I feel about mass markets. Paper Mill Press is the one that makes these. Like I said, though, you might, even though they're pretty, they're also a little stiff. So, I don't know. That could potentially make a difference. They're not so stiff that you can't, obviously you can open them and then we have Around the World in 80 Days. I really like this green color. So it's, basically you have the words are actually, I like how they're kind of like rounded, the words, the way they're shaped, the title. And then we have, the pyramid, the London Clock Tower, Big Ben, a pyramid, the Statue of Liberty. I don't remember. I think this is somewhere, a tower in Italy. And then we have, I I don't know. I can't tell what this is. But all the different representations of the places they stop. And I like this green color. I forgot what these, there's also something on the back. Like this one has a pocket watch on the back. And this one has a compass and a map on the back. And then we have Secret Garden. Let's see, what is this? It's kind of faded. It looks like flowers, maybe? Flowers on the back of that one. So again, this is Paper Mill Press editions. And then the last one is another Jules Verne, where we have A Journey to the Center of the Earth by Jules Verne, where we have like a volcano, the raised title letters, and then on the back is one of those dinosaurs. I don't know what, can't remember what kind of dinosaur this is. There's a border. This is probably more gray than the other one. This one is probably more, well, I guess is it the same? Well, I guess, yeah, they're the same. There was one more that I had. I cannot remember what it was. Oh, duh, I just said it. Robin Hood. And that was a green color. A darker green, like a forest green color. So these were really fun. And I just stuck to getting, 5 of these. Picked up 5 of these because it adds up. But yeah, I do sort of like these. But like I said, they're a little stiff. So that's the only thing. Now, this one. I thought I had more than one of these, but I guess I finally got rid of them all. But we have, this one is these flexi-bound ones with, I guess the publishing company is Canterbury Classics. So I kind of like the look of these. Like, they feel like a Bible. But they have the title in gold embossed with different various quotes from the title on it. I like the color. Each one of them is a different color, which is what I like about, I'll talk about that later, but that's also what I like about the Barnes & Noble. They're each different colors. They're bigger than mass markets, but I don't think they're regular size paperbacks. These are also kind of stiff too. They don't easily open. But I still kind of like them. I like the, and there's on the inside, there's a little, a design on the inside. But yeah, so I like that it's small, but it's not as small as a mass market book. And like I said, I have a thing for different color, when books are different colors. When each book has a color that they choose to represent it. But there's that. I used to have The Age of Innocence. It was a purple color. And then 20,000 Leagues Under the Seas was another one that I had in this edition, and it was blue. But that was a book I ended up not loving, and the same in Age of Innocence, I liked it, but it wasn't an all-time favorite. Trying to think if there were any others that I have in this edition, but there's that. Oh, damn it. Okay. And then, well, we will see what happens. Sorry, the screen went black on me for a second, and now I'm it won't matter what I say right now, but hopefully it won't, I won't disappear. It won't show a blank screen once I, stop recording. And in the end, it won't matter, because then I'll have to redo it anyway. Okay, last but not least, these are some of another favorite types of edition, and that is these ones, these NYRB editions, New York I always have to look it up. New York Review Books edition. So I have Swans Away in this one, the first volume of this series by Proust. And I really like the design of the covers and how it has a border all around it, and it's like, you know, you have the title right here and its little box here. I don't know why. I just like the look of these. And I also had Anglo-Saxon Attitudes. I can't remember the author's name of that one, but I also had that one in this edition that I really liked. I almost wish I had kept that book. But like I said, I always feel pressure to, you know, go through my books and find books that I can, you know, donate. And, you know, in the moment, I'm like, oh, I liked it, but do I really love it? But then, you know, later I regret it. Okay, so one I can say I've read. Lisa Tuttle's My Death, which is really good. It's short and sweet, but it was really good. It's kind of like those one of those books like The 13th Tale, where an author interviews another author that is a recluse and learns about their past. It's kind of that kind of premise. Now with this one, I find the cover really weird. I've been trying to understand the cover. It's weird. I don't think this was a very good cover. I think they should have done something else. But yeah, this was really good. This was just really intriguing story. And then we have, so this one I have not read, which is Slaves of Solitude. Which, by the way, this publishing company, it publishes books that are unknown, that aren't as popular anymore, that have kind of disappeared. Kind of like Persephone Books, which I want to show you that I had one of those books, a Persephone book, but I ended up not loving the book, which is so disappointing because, like, when you like the publisher, the type of edition of the book, but then you end up not liking the story. And I know some people will keep them because they like the edition, but I feel guilty about doing that because I don't have the space. But this is Slaves of Solitude by Patrick Hamilton. There's always an introduction in these books, but these ones, like, the only thing about these is they don't have like notes or anything. They just have an introduction. I mean, I don't know what the introduction says. Yeah. So, yeah, it does have a good introduction, but that's about, it. I don't know what the introduction says because I don't read the introductions. But that's it. It doesn't really have any notes or anything, so that's the only thing about these New York review books is that they don't have notes or anything in the book. Not like, the Oxford or the, Penguin ones. And then we have Life and Death by Vasily Grossman, which is a World War II book. And this is actually part of a series. So I don't know if I can read it by itself or not. But this is a translated work. And it was actually a controversial book. It was dangerous to the Soviet Union at the time because it probably says the truth. The ugly truth about the Soviet Union. But yeah, again, I like to look. Oh, now this one looks more photo real with this cover. Like these other covers look more like, paintings or photographs. Well, this like paintings. Well, this one is actually more like it looks real, like a real photo. Which maybe they did use a real photo in this case because of what the book is about. That's Life and Fate, by the way, in case you didn't get the title. And then we have The Liar. This also has an interesting cover, but I like this cover better than this cover. This cover is just weird. This cover, I mean, I can see where some people find it weird, but I find it really actually kind of, really unique looking and fun with this like it looks like a kid's artwork, like older kid, like a drawing of is that like a frog or a lizard or something? I don't know, but with all this green on it, I think green yellowish. I don't know. I think this is really cool. Like I said, I think this is much more interesting than the cover that they use for My Death, which is just weird to me. I mean, there might be something. And then the last one doesn't really have, it's just the title and there's really no cover or anything. It's black with the title being the only thing in color, and the author's name. But this is William Gaddis's The Recognitions. And at some point I do want to get his book JR, but I'm apprehensive because I haven't continued with this book. And, I mean, I don't think I'll have a problem with the story, because I've heard the premise, and so far I do like the premise. But it's a big boy. It's a long book, and it's been intimidating me. But maybe picking up JR will motivate me. That's his second book. But yeah, this one isn't as aesthetically interesting or pleasing. It's kind of boring. I mean, I think that'd be kind of fun if they did something else with it. Like, made the title smaller, the title and the author's name smaller, and then had some design on it. Like, maybe a painting, particularly of the painting that our main character does reproductions of, or something, like does copies of, like a painting of that would have been great on here. I don't know why they chose such a simple, boring, plain cover. I mean, although I know some people like this more simple cover, but I personally, I wish they had done more with this. So these are the NYRB cover editions. Like I said, they basically publish these books that have kind of forgotten and aren't as well known, aren't as popular. So those are, I kind of wanted to do those together because there aren't as many of those. And depending on how many of the Oxfords and the Barnes & Noble ones and the vintage, I'll see if some of those I might put together in a video. But so, again, I keep thinking about, I should pick some of these up. Because, like, some of them, like, all the ones of the, those what is the press? Paper Mill Press books. I've read all these. I made sure to read all these. So I don't have to read any of those. At least not for a while. But, Les Mis and some of those. And, NYRB books. I gotta read some of those. But at least I read one of them. I could say I've read the My Death, and when I had Anglo-Saxon Attitudes, I read that one too. I mean, I almost wish I had kept it, but I don't think I still have it. I think I gave that already to the bookstore. I mean, I could look in that pile of books that are going to be donated at some point, because I'm kind of taking them in sections. Because there's so many, and, my lack of having been able to drive doesn't help. So, because I have to walk to the bookstore, unless, when my parents are home, which is what I would have had to do if I had decided to go today, because I thought about going today, but I was like, yeah, let me just not go today, and I can wait. I mean, I still have plenty of time to go. But I hope you enjoyed that part of looking at some of the ones that I've had, and I will talk to y'all later. All right, bye!